A few people have asked why I didn't do a race. I'll put the list in the description if you don't want to hear me explain each point, so you can bypass it if you want. Pretty simple really. There's a whole bunch of things that I factored in. Handoffs. If you've ever done an event, you'll know that grabbing a water cup or bottle off a table that is stationary while you're moving quite quickly doesn't always work that well. Normally you splash it, you slap half of it out, or you miss it, and that's a pain in the butt. Having a support rider there, like my brother, means that they're moving with you. So much easier to grab a bottle, grab food, whatever it is that you want from the person whilst they're moving. Big plus to not having to slow down and stop, or try and walk and guzzle a cup full of water or whatever. It's just so much better having a person on a bike or moving. Well, in this case it was a bike, and it worked seamlessly. The next point, the distance. I've done Auckland Marathon. It was 42.66 or 42.7 on my watch, so it's like almost half a K long. That's like 2 minutes, that's huge. I know they supposedly do make them long so that if there was ever a record that it wouldn't be under distance, and fair enough, but I ain't setting no records, that's for sure. For the most part, because it links you with so many other runners too, I did have a look at their watches, their distances, and some of them were 43, some of them are 42.9. Like, that's seriously over, That was a big reason for me as well to not run super long. And then there's other ones as well. I did Tauranga last year that was 41 point something, so it's significantly under. I've only ever been to one, Hawke's Bay, which was spot on the money. The course, another big factor. If you want to run a PB, then you don't want to have a whole bunch of elevation. Elevation is just going to slow you down. There was a couple of little bumps, like there's the little lump by the helicopters, so I went over it once and then back again, and then the little bridge at Napihi. Hardly anything. It's saying I think 40 meters or something total elevation, which is hardly anything. But again, like Rotorua has got a bit of elevation. Auckland's got elevation because you're coming up the harbour bridge, and it's just going to slow you down. So that's why I picked doing it there, because the majority of Tamaki Drive and around the bays is pan flat. Weather on the day, at least with the idea of doing what I did, your standalone course, that you have the flexibility of perhaps picking the day before. So let's say the plan was to do it on the Sunday, like it was for me, ended up being great weather. But if it was looking like thunderstorms and Saturday was looking good, then at least you could go, oh, I'll just do it that day instead. Whereas if it's an event, then bad luck. Filming and photos. That's a big thing for me. A big part of the reason why I do these things is to show that we can thrive, and if you don't document it in any way by taking any photos or any video, then how are you going to do that? And often events take place on places where it's harder for the public to access, or it's restricted by barriers and so forth and that kind of thing. Whereas again, with my idea, I could have someone riding alongside, someone filming from a car, that kind of thing, and it worked really good. Obviously I've got a video on Instagram and one on YouTube, so you can see that it worked really well. Whereas if you tried to do that on an event day, you can't drive on the course because there's so many other runners, and you can't also ride a bike there. You can't have support running with a whole bunch of, or thousands of people. It just doesn't work. Hence why I like this option far better. Wind direction. If you've ever run a marathon and you've gotten past the 30k distance, you'll know that it is like another world. Once you get past 30k's, you can be as fresh as can be, and then once 30, 32 hits, you kind of like, whoa, 10k to go, or uh-oh, I'm in trouble because I've got a long way to go and I'm feeling tired. And the wind direction at that point can make or break your day. When I did my previous PB of 305, 307, whatever way you're looking at it, I went out to St. Heliers and the predominant wind is sou'wester. Sou'wester was pretty much a headwind smack bang all the way back to the finish, which was about 10k stretch. And it is demoralizing when you're tired, when you're feeling it. And you've got, even the slightest headwind makes a huge difference. So I knew that it was probably going to be a sou'wester, and it was. it was light, but it meant that I was finishing it with that, and that's what I had planned and anticipated. It worked great. Not having to carry stuff. Having a support rider or someone else meeting you at points means that you don't have to carry stuff. You don't have to carry food, you don't have to carry water, you don't have to carry any bottles or anything, or wear a belt. Other runs I've done solo, I'd worn my running vest, my ultra vest with bottles on, carrying my phone, carrying some food, carrying all these things. Whereas on event day with a support rider, you don't have to carry a thing. You want to be as light as possible, carry the least amount of stuff to give yourself the best chance of achieving whatever it is your goal is. And last but not least, suiting it to my training date. In January, I decided that I was just going to start at a certain point, see how it went, do my 3-week builds, rest week, 3-week builds, rest week, blah blah blah. I got to where I thought in April that I might try and go for it, but then I thought I really think like I need another month, so I went into May, and then from there it was kind of like whatever the 3-week build was, obviously you're going to come down through a taper, and this just so happened to be the date. Whereas if I had done that and had an event, let's say Rotorua Marathon, it was the week before, then it would have clashed a bit and I would have had to adjust something, and that might have messed up the program. Doing it the way I did it, at least then you can go, alright, it's just the date that suits me, and then that way hopefully there's nothing on at the place that you're trying to do the event at also, whether it be just public open roads like it was. Those are my reasons. It worked really good. I might do it again one day, we'll see, or perhaps the next one will be at a race, who knows. At least it has been documented, and it is forever going to be on YouTube and other social media platforms, and that's special to me because I've already rewatched it many times. I feel like I was running fast. 4:17 is fast in my eyes. To be able to hold that for 42 for a full marathon, I'm very, very proud of.